Hi, this is Angel Jones. I love great conversations where life's journey is communicated not only through words, but tones and emotions. Explosive expressions that allow you to feel what they felt and learned. A fool learns only from his own mistake, while the wise learn from their own and from those others have made. Thanks for being here with us. Good morning, Michael Kawula. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful morning?
It is beautiful, and I am doing great in Tampa, Florida, because the weather is beautiful and it's a Monday, so it makes me excited. I love Mondays.
I have grown to love Mondays myself, I must say. It's really an amazing opportunity to love a Monday after disliking them for a few years well.
It sounds like you're self-employed now, so congratulations.
Thank you very much. So tell me, which of your talents is responsible for us meeting?
I'm going to guess that it's my ability to do the acronym GSD, which is get stuff done. I've just had that ability to do that in all of my businesses in the past. I've had a lot of different successes, and I've also had a lot of different lessons in businesses. And either way, I've always had that ability to just get stuff done. In other words, focus on what's important and not really look at staying busy, which is what a lot of folks can do when they're new in entrepreneurship, but are they really getting stuff done that's going to move the dial in their business? And I think that's what I've had a good ability to do over the last couple of years.
So important, so important. I love how you said lessons and not failures. I love that. And I'm guessing it's what the world would have branded as failures, right?
I would think so, and that word's used a lot in entrepreneurship, and I think it's I'm a big believer. I've had it since a very early age in mindset and what we put in and what we take out of our mind. And I think if we constantly, it's overused now, and I think it's become cliche amongst entrepreneurs and folks who are just online entrepreneurs talking about the journey, the failure. I think we should all talk about the journey. It's real important. It's bumpy. It's not smooth like everybody thinks it is. However, to use that word failure, it's just we're putting the wrong information into the mind of entrepreneurs. We just need to let them know that it's not going to be an easy ride, but you're not going to fail. You just need to keep that ability to open up the mind to learn from the lessons when there is a bump in the road, adjust and pivot, and then continue moving forward.
Love it. You know, one of the reasons for starting this particular journey in podcasting was to identify that person that exists behind an entrepreneur. So many times it seems as though, you look at the numbers, you look at, hey, he moved this business to 6 figures or 7 figures, and without focusing on hey, this guy is a human, and it means that he possibly had some type of, if it's compassion or passion, or he had weaknesses or what may seem as weaknesses. And I think that it was paramount in identifying who an entrepreneur is, to just have a conversation and ask these type questions. Who did you learn this from, Michael?
It would definitely be my father. Growing up, he's just somebody that was an entrepreneur himself and just had the ability to really focus on the important stuff and get done what matters. So, I just saw that as a child growing up, and it's something that's always been, kind of instilled in me.
Why will you continue to repeat these skills?
Because the alternative of it would be hell. I couldn't imagine not trying to get something done.
Share with us one thing you have done consistently over the last 3 years.
Yeah, I would say it reverts back to something that's called the Eisenhower matrix. And basically what it is it's, really, again, back to that GSD mode, focusing on what's really important and getting things done. So the Eisenhower matrix, and, it's actually called the Eisenhower box. Anybody can Google it to learn more about it. But basically picture, 4 different quadrants. And then the top is what's urgent on the left, and then on the right is what's not urgent, but the very top quadrant is what's called important. So you've got important things to do that are urgent, and then you've got important things to do that aren't urgent. And examples of that would be like, important and urgent could be, today I need to maybe write a blog post, right? So that's important and urgent, and I'm going to do it today. Important and urgent could also be, exercising, right? So we all know, is it urgent that we do it right now today? No, but is it important? Yes. So I need to focus on those things. Whereas in the bottom quadrants are things like, delegating, things that are urgent but not important. Like, maybe you've got to fly somewhere, right? Or you need to schedule an appointment with somebody. So, I'm really good at having somebody else do that for me. So is that I don't focus on doing that. And then in the bottom left, right hand side of the quadrant, it's what's called, not urgent and not important. So a good example of that would be like watching TV or hanging out on social media. And what I feel a lot of entrepreneurs do is, they're focusing on those things that aren't important and might be urgent, or aren't important and aren't urgent at all. And they're focusing, so they're working and they think they're working. But at the end of the day, they're not moving the dial in the business because they're focusing on the bottom things that just, aren't important. Whereas if you learn to delegate and focus on the top parts, you're going to get so much more done in your business.
Share with them how it makes you feel.
It makes me feel phenomenal because at the end of the day, or at the end of the week or month or whatever it may be, I know that, if I step away from my business can still continue to move in the right way because I've set systems up in place, right? I've got people in place to continue to move the business, to move the dial of the business. And, when I'm in the business, I know that what I'm doing is ultra productive and going to help me have a, kind of like that multiplier effect for my business. So it makes me feel great.
Love it. Suggest to someone out there who is listening why they should do this and do this now.
Because if you don't do this, you're definitely going to be damaging your business, or you're just going to be, moving along. And, before I use that acronym GSD, and I use that a lot, again, get stuff done, or get, what done. And we all grind as entrepreneurs. We all have sacrifices as entrepreneurs. I think we're all determined as entrepreneurs, right? So GSD. But do you really GSD? Do you get stuff done in your business? So you might be grinding, you might be sacrificing, and you probably are, because we all do as entrepreneurs, and we're all determined. But the difference is you've got 90% of entrepreneurs who have setbacks, right? I mean, that's just the statistics of entrepreneurship. But those 10% that succeed, what are they doing differently? And I'm going to say that they're focusing on that top two quadrants in the Eisenhower matrix. They're very focusing on the urgent and important things in the business that can actually move the dial versus just working but not really moving the dial.
Love it. Let's switch gears now for a bit. Let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Mike, what is your earliest childhood memory?
Earliest childhood memory. And it's funny because, I've listened to you interview other folks, and this is something that it's, I look back at my childhood, and I don't know why. I just don't remember a lot of things. But the one thing that always I do remember is the time I spent with my father. My father passed when I was in college, but even as a young child, at like the age of 4, I remember 5 years old, going with him into New York City to his business to work on, and during the summers when I had off of school. I remember I had my own little briefcase, and I even had a little tie back then so I could act like my dad. And I just remember sitting in there in the office and his secretaries watching me, but me always watching him as I was young. And I continued to do that growing up in elementary, middle school, and even in high school. I worked full time in there, and I learned a tremendous amount. But if I had to look back, I would say it was going to work with my dad.
It's a challenging question for me to ask. Why do you think that memory is so clear?
Yeah, I'm gonna say probably because it's he's somebody that we were both type A individuals. So as I got older and even got into college, we butted heads constantly, even up to unfortunately the day the night when he passed away. That night he passed away, before it happened, we had an argument. I was at my office, came home. I was working for Allstate Insurance, selling insurance, going to school full time, came home from Allstate that night. He and I had an argument. I left, went out with a couple of friends, went back to my office, came back home that night. And on my desk was a note from my father, and it said, "Good things come to those who wait, but only those things left over by those who hustle." It's an Abraham Lincoln quote. And he wrote me a long message that night just about how you have to sacrifice some things at times, to get the better things that you want in life. And it was really a good message. Unfortunately, that night also he had a heart attack and passed away. But it's just something that's always been instilled in me, and I just always remember the good times with my father growing up.
I mean, just looking at that, though, the thought picture that I interpret, though, is definitely someone that lived his life in that same Eisenhower model, right? I mean, hey, who knows how important a heart attack is? But on the other side, taking the time to write that letter, and it's said, it's rumored that when you're going, and to really take the time to know that possibly that this was your last day, and to write that letter to your son, it means a lot, doesn't it?
It meant a tremendous amount. And he and I always, again, like I said, we butted heads, but we also were, and I'm that way now. It's funny because I'm a very type A, but then I'm very, I'm not afraid to say I'm very emotional, love my family and I'm there for them all the time. But we butt heads also. But, at the end of the day, we also, we can stop for a moment and reflect. And I think, when I left that evening and went back to my office and then out with friends, I think he reflected, I reflected. And, at the end of the day, what a message to be left, which, I respect 100%.
Pretty amazing stuff. If we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
I love music, and I have music on all the time. So I'm gonna probably say back. This was the early '80s. It's gonna have to be like either Journey, which is one of my favorite Journey songs, is "Don't Stop Believing." Don't stop believing. Or Bruce Springsteen, "Born to Run." I believe that's the year the album came out, and when I was 12 or 11, and just love the song, and Born to Run, Glory Days. It's a great album, and it's got a ton of great messages in it.
It's all connecting here, folks. So we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form, yes or no. Mike, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Yes.
Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have children?
Yes.
How many?
3, 2 girls and 1 boy.
Wow. Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Definitely yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
Definitely no.
How about 3 hours a week?
I will say this. I do not watch TV other than reality TV occasionally. And when the TV is on, it's on because my family's watching and I'm sitting there on my laptop just being with them and hanging out. But I do a ton of online education. So I always got earbuds in my head and just watching online education. And I guess that's a form of TV, right? It's just today's form. It's different.
Time.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. How about screen time?
Love it.
Hey, this has been a great pleasure, my friend. Before you leave, is there anything you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Yeah, just continue to grind, continue to, instead of sacrificing, I'd love to see you succeed. So when you think of GSD, grinding, sacrificing, determined, just look at it and say, but am I getting shit done in my business? If you are, congrats, way to go. But if you're not and you feel like you're just moving, make sure to stop for a moment and just reflect on it and make sure that what you're doing is actually moving the dial in the right direction for both your life and your business.
Mike Kawula, thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Take care.
Amazing audience, before you leave, there's one person I'd like to introduce you to, Amanda Jones. She is my wife and her passion is to educate, encourage, and empower.
Hi, I'm Amanda Jones and I'm a registered nurse. Do you or someone you know have diabetes? According to the International Diabetes Federation, in 2015 worldwide, 415 million people were living with diabetes. Just as that figure is overwhelming, so too can the effects of diabetes be. So, to help simplify diabetes for both adult and child, I've used rhymes in my books, The ABCs of Diabetes for Children and Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes. At its simplest, rhymes help us to remember. If you, a child or friend, want an easy, reader-friendly way to know about diabetes, then get a copy of these books. For more details, you can go to poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.